So now I am going to discuss stress strain diagram of high strength steel. So in previous slide you have seen that mild steel. You have seen the stress strain diagram of mild steel. So you have seen the mild steel strain diagram. Now I explain the stress strain diagram of high strength steel. So this curve has two parts. One is linear part, and so up to this portion is a linear part, and this portion is non-linear part. So when you see that when it reaches to the yield stress, after that stress is not varying, it is constant, but the strain is continuing take place, and and so within the elastic limit. So this is the elastic limit. This limit is called the elastic limit. Here material obey Hooke's law, means the if I remove load in this portion, then what happen? Suppose I consider one level of stress and I remove the load, then what happen? It bring back to the original length. Now on the non-linear portions, so you see that we are applying the tensile load, and the stress is developed level. If so, I consider that level. At this level, if the load is withdrawn, then what happen? It bring back to the original length with a permanent strain. So the permanent strain is how much? The permanent strain is 0.002. So this dotted line represents the unloading curve, unloading line. So along that line it bring back to the original length, and with permanent strain 0.002. So this permanent strain, it is not recoverable, but whereas in elastic limit the strain is recoverable. Now how we get the modulus of elasticity? The modulus of elasticity, so simply this line is drawn with respect of this line. As the parallel line is drawn with respect of that line, and it intersects the x-axis. So the slope of this line is called the modulus of elasticity. Is this x-axis ordinate by this ordinate, this horizontal length, and this is vertical length, x stress by stress. So the modulus of elasticity is how much? 2 into 10 to the power 5 MPa, and the strain of steel is how much? So you see that external is equal to, which is equal to stress by strain, stress by modulus of elasticity. So this is a stress value, and by modulus of elasticity plus this permanent strain. So at this level we get the strain of steel. Now today, so this is very important thing that you have to understand how the load is calculated on the structure, because when we perform the analysis, that time load has to be calculated. So without load calculation you cannot proceed for analysis. So load estimation, load calculation is very important. So when you do the analysis, that time those load you have to calculate. So you see that two loads. So classification of structural static load. Two type of loads are considered to the structure. So one is the gravity load, which consists of dead load and live load. Live load, LL live load, or imposed load. So live load or imposed load. The another load is lateral load, which also act to the structure, which is also acting to the structure. So two type of loads are acting to the structure. Now why those loads are called gravity load? Because the dead load and live load both are acting vertically downward. So that's why it is called gravity load. And lateral load means the wind load, and WL means the wind load and earthquake load is acting in lateral direction. So that's why it is called lateral load. Suppose I consider a structure. So this is a ground level. The structures, the structure has the two part. One is superstructure, another is substructure. So superstructure means the superstructure, the portion of the structure which is located above ground level is called superstructure, and the portion of structure which is located below the ground level is called the is called the substructure. So superstructure and substructure. Now the wind load is acting in the lateral direction. So line of action. So the line of action of forces horizontal in the lateral direction. So you know that when the winds are blowing, the wind is directly act on the surface of the building. Surface means the wall. On the wall the load is acting. So this load is acting on superstructure, whereas earthquake load is acting at the base of the structure. Okay, so both load are lateral load. Both load are acting in lateral direction. So that's why loads are called the lateral load. In your syllabus, only two loads are considered: dead load and live load. So using those load, you need to design the member. So only two loads are considered in your syllabus: dead load and live load. But not lateral load are not considered in your syllabus. So only two loads you have to you consider for design. Now the what is dead load? So dead load means it is a permanent load. The magnitude as well as position do not change with respect of time. And you know the example of the dead loads are the weight of members, weight of structures, also including walls, beam, including walls, flooring material. So those are which are permanent. So those loads do not change. And the reference code is IS 875 part 1. So using that code, if you find out the how much you find out the dead load on the structure. So in IS 875 part 1, for different material, the unit weight are given. Like for concrete, the unit weight is given 24 kilonewton per meter cube. So the unit weight of concrete is given 24 kilonewton per meter cube. So when you know the weight of concrete, then you can get the load of the concrete. So how much load is acting to the member, so that you can get from the unit weight. Similarly, for reinforced concrete, the unit weight is given. So unit weight is 25 kilonewton per meter cube. So different flooring material for walls, the unit weight of walls also given. So that is 20 kilonewton per meter cube. So for brick, we have considered with mortar, we have considered 20 kilonewton per meter cube. Next, I go to the next slide. So another load is considered. The load is live load. So live load means we are standing on floor, means the occupant's person load, and also this load do the movable object such as furnitures, object such as furnitures, almirah. So all those loads are called live load. As per the IS 875 part 2, the live loads are classified, and mainly the person load and the movable objects loads are considered as a live load, and which is given IS, the reference code is IS 875 part 2. So in this code the different live loads are mentioned. Live loads are mentioned. So you know that for residential building, so for residential building, for residential building, the live load is considered 2.5 kilonewton per meter square. So for residential building, the live load is, so this per unit area, this live load is acting on floor, acting on slab, acting on floor. So now again this live load transferred to beam. So the code is given IS 875 part 2. So using that code we calculate live load. Next I discuss the design principle. So it means when you design a member, some rules you have to follow, some rules you have to remember, and also you have to check the member with respect of strength, with respect of deformation, with respect of durability. Now so several principles are used, but here the three main principles you have to remember. So this is the three main principles you must follow when you design the member. The first one is the member should have adequate strength. Member should have sufficient strength to sustain all loads. So when you design the member should have sufficient strength. I consider a axial loaded member where axial load is applied. So this axial load produce axial strength. So how we get strength, axial stress developed inside the member. So the stress, how you calculate the axial stress, that is P by A. A is the cross sectional area of the member. So we will get the applied stress. Now the strength of member, now the strength of member should be more or equal